Alright, this is the second section to the best upgrades for each brawler. I'll go through each rarity and tell you what's necessary in their kit. Starting off with Bo, we have both of these are kind of useless. Tripwire is going to be the better one. Snare Bear is pseudo required on very small, like a couple map rotations. Circling Eagle with very high bushes is like kind of crazy, but otherwise just like Snare Bear is significantly better. Damage reload pretty much all the way.
They say
DMZ,
she's too wrapped up in herself. Hashtag haters.
Her kit makes her an actual anti-tank brawler, and then speed damage. You want the speed to be able to keep up with tanks, and damage just goes crazy. Hype is pretty much my favorite because it allows you to actually survive through like low health, and you can just get multiple people, keep them in the zone. Some people like bad karma, but most people know how to not get hit multiple times, so hype is usually better. First do, this one's a toss-up. I would recommend going breakthrough because it allows them to do so much more. Gasso Heal they're very different playstyles. Gasso Heal is probably better, but Zero Drag has its use cases, but just makes them feel a bit different. Damage and shield is pretty much necessary.
Oh, sweetie.
This one is the anti-aggro. This one is for the long range. I'd recommend the long range because if you're playing Piper, you should be in long range matchups most all the time. Damage and shield is necessary, along with snappy sniping. Very niche maps, you'll be like bushes and long range, but that doesn't happen very often. So snappy sniping is the way to go.
Wham bam! Here comes Pam!
Scrap sucker all the way. This one is kind of a toss up for gears. I typically like a heal and then the super turret heal as well, but on occasion you just like you need a vision in order to be able to scout bushes on like more bushy maps. But I'd recommend heal and the other heal for most cases. Mama's Squeeze is preferred because it actually allows your turret not to be killed by like aggro brawlers. You'll still get like destroyed by throwers, but it actually makes it more defendable. And Mama's Hug just doesn't heal enough in most cases. Frank, honestly, both work. Active noise canceling is mostly against like other Franks right now, but Irresistible Attraction just absolutely sweeps, so I would recommend that one. I'd recommend heal and damage because you're very tanky, but you also want to be able to kill people. This one's the Noob Stomper. This one just gives you more health, which makes him better at being himself. So I would recommend it, but some people might argue with me on that one.
Mr.
DD
Bat says hi.
is must have. This one is just entirely personal preference. I would recommend batting stance because it's less situational, and then I would go speed damage, or if you're feeling a little crazy, this one actually would be a solid gadget charge.
Sweet nectar.
Honey Molasses, most all cases. It just shuts down aggro, which is kind of core part of her kit, but also can be used in long range matches, which is where she's also used as just being able to tank a hit. Damage shield is necessary, and I would recommend Insta Reload. Honeycomb, like, you can run it, but this one's just gonna always have more value.
That was not my intention.
You are going to run Return to Sender. It's just like kind of a must-have. This one's just for like niche situations. Shield and Supercharge is effectively a must-have as well. So much of her kit is revolved around getting this, which is also a must-have, about getting hypercharge, or not hypercharge, but max damage supers. So that allows you to just kind of carry. Where'd we go?
Lol.
Edgar, kind of controversial. Let's Fly is probably the better gadget. This is in for slow matchups where you're just gonna, you have time to get all the way to super and you just need to be able to like kill people and KO. But Let's Fly has more use cases. Epic and damage is pretty much necessary. This one is again a toss-up. I like Fisticuffs because it helps with higher health enemies, but hard landing allows you to kill squishy brawlers.
Refunds for everyone!
Business resilience is kind of required. Piggy bank is also kind of must-have because just like map manipulation, and you need to be able to like survive. And then damage reload is kind of also must-have.
Must remember, bring walkie-talkie.
Must-have for radio check, must-have for X Factor, and then shield and damage is pretty much must-haves as well. Bonnie, Sugar Rush is must-have, Black Powder is must-have, and I would recommend damage and heal. However, if you're noticing you have some bushy maps, you can run speed.
Old Gale's gonna make it snow!
Twister's usually the better option to go. You can just like find value in most maps, but there are some maps that require spring ejector if you're playing them on. But if you want them just to play generally, I would recommend Twister. These ones is honestly kind of a toss-up. I'd recommend damage for sure, speed for bushy maps, and then health otherwise. This one again is a toss-up. Blustery Blow is very good on maps with lots of walls. However, this one I have a personal preference to, and would recommend that one.
Don't run away!
Is very good at killing tanks, and you need gotcha in order to heal back up against tanks. This one's, I'd recommend it, probably a bit better in most cases, but this one, and it's better for heist. Well, this one is just good. I'd recommend this one though. Damage, shield, heal, they all work well. You can also use gadget charge. This one's pretty much situational. It's up to you.
Time to turn and burn.
Nest egg is going to be valuable in more situations. I would recommend it. Positive feedback is kind of a must-have. Grounded is still a little bit of a meme, but it's getting a little bit better. Reload and damage is highly recommended, but you can also get shields if you feel up for it.
Time to take out the rubbish.
Shield hill is must-have. First bash is kind of must-have. I don't think I've seen anyone run this, but I also haven't seen anyone run a in it. Speed must-have, and then this one's personal preference between supercharge, heal, and damage. I'd personally recommend damage because it's just always useful, but
Double trouble!
Lola, stunt double versus freeze frame. They honestly, like, they both do very little, but they exist. That said, improvise is probably the better pick and actually does something. Sealed with a kiss is also useful, but if you're gonna, you don't have to really get a gadget, but you do need a star power. Damage and reload is also very important.
Gloves are off!
Sam, like, you have to get him to power 8 maybe now, in order to get his hardy recovery. Like, he's simply just unplayable without this star power. And then again, this is a must-have gadget. Otherwise, useless. Very niche, and I would recommend damage and heal, unless again you have a bunch of bushy maps. Mandy.
Too sour
This
for
one's
you.
kind of personal preference. You can take either. That said, In My Sights is a must-have, and it's very important on this brawler. Otherwise, there's like really no point of sitting, waiting, and charging up like the long shot. Damage, shields, kind of must-haves.
Shockwave!
Oh my gosh. I forgot that gadget existed, so always use disengage and tremors as well. You get more damage this way, but this one actually allows you to cycle super and finish off enemies, and is much better. I'd recommend damage. You could go gadget charge because it's pretty nice, but you can also run I would recommend using gadget charge because it just works so much better with tremors.
Time for a shrimpy skirmish!
Is barricade probably all the way. It's just very useful on a tanky brawler to have shields. This one I'm gonna say it's gonna blow. It doesn't feel super good, but it's actually useful, as this one is like you have to get way too close to a wall, and so it's usually not. Usually doesn't do anything. That said, you always want to run heal, and then it's probably damage first. If you're bushy map, run speed as always. Oops. Going back, we now have
I've got the recipe for
Brawl
destruction.
Overcooked is must have. And then if you're going to run on like aggro maps where you need to be able to use your super a lot, you can run heat shield. Otherwise, I'd recommend heat retention, and it allows her to play long range maps. Heal, damage, highly recommended. You could run gadget gear, but since her gadget nerf, it's a little bit worse.
This will be
Very
a great
nerdy.
day!
Order fallback necessary. You never consider that ever. This one might be a little bit controversial, but protocol assist is probably better. It allows you to actually shut down tanks. This one just, yeah, it exists. Damage and shields, highly recommended. Get into the last of it.
Getting
Yep, Angela.
stomped in the swamp!
I'd recommend staying in flight because you can always make use out of it, but sometimes people hide behind walls, and that is a very easy way to assassinate people with it. That said, Empower is almost required. There's like a few maps where there's just tons of water, and that's useful, but this will always give you so much value that it's kind of crazy. Damage shield.
Wow, you didn't
Barry.
even try.
Friendship is great. It's kind of like necessary. This one can be used on heist, but not really. This one is kind of a toss-up. You can run either. I like Flora's Flying because you just often don't have enough reload otherwise. And Damage Shield is probably that one as well. Alright, that's it for the epics.